Garfield theme included in the Microsoft Windows product for the Windows 98 operating system is in fact one of my favorite themes that they included in the Windows 98 Plus product. However, enough of that. Today I'm going to test out another anomalous operating system that would bring the stuff that would be found in people's, worst nightmares. It all started back in 1999. Just shortly after that Windows codename Leviathan incident occurred. Microsoft and Paws Inc. signed a collaboration agreement to create a revolutionary operating system called the Microsoft Windows Garfield operating system, also known simply as the Windows Garfield OS. It was an operating system focusing specifically on Garfield-themed content. However, as the release date drew closer, strange glitches began to occur. Mysterious bugs that cannot be explained at all. Some examples of bugs that the team reported were that files would randomly disappear, screens would flicker, computers would often freeze, and strange whispers were heard coming from the speakers. Like as if the computers were talking. And despite their best efforts, unfortunately the team was not able to successfully fix the unexplained bugs before the designated release date approached, and thus the Garfield OS was therefore released in early 2000 with the bugs remaining unpatched. And this is when things started getting weird. I mean, literally weird. Users began to report strange occurrences while using the Windows Garfield OS. Some users claimed that their desktop icons would move around on their own. Sometimes files would even disappear before reappearing in unusual spots. Some users claimed that their screens would flicker and cryptic error messages were often shown. Others said that they heard strange whispers coming from speakers, even if the computer was turned off. Some people also said that programs would open by themselves. Others said that their taskbars would randomly change colors every time they tried shutting down the computer. Others said that they claimed to have seen a figure resembling Garfield, except he's all totally pitch black and had white glowing eyes. And every time they tried to click away from the screen, the figure would follow their cursor no matter where it goes. Some reports also claimed that the desktop background would change to show disturbing imagery involving Garfield characters whenever the user leaves the room. Others claimed that their menus would open up by themselves, and every time they tried closing it, the desktop background would brighten for a little bit. And as the unexplained bugs and glitches continued, Microsoft and Paws Inc. decided to come up with patches to fix the bugs in the cursed Windows operating system. And when users began downloading the patches, the glitches stopped and they could feel a sign of relief. Though some say that the code in the Garfield OS lives on even if they uninstalled it. If you're not careful, it may just find its way onto your computer, bringing with it a world of darkness and terror that you may never escape. Fast forward to today, I decided to install the operating system on my computer. And whatever I did, I was greeted with the Windows 2000 boot screen, but with the word mark. But this time, the word mark said Microsoft Windows Garfield OS Professional. Standing next to the Windows logo was Garfield, who are also shown Audi and Normal. I was greeted with the Windows 2000 startup sound playing in the background once the installation process was completed. And at first everything was normal at first, but several minutes into using it, I was greeted with strange bugs and glitches that would not be explained at all. I began to report bizarre distortions in the graphics, with textures warping and objects appearing where they shouldn't be in, and objects appearing in places where they should not be in. It was as if the software's immersed environment had taken on a surreal, unpredictable dimension of its own. Windows icons and menus sometimes froze, leaving me with no choice but to restart my system, often resulting in lost work and frustration. And the computer kept spontaneously rebooting, seemingly without warning. This not only disrupted my workflow, but also raised concerns about data integrity. Files and documents mysteriously disappeared or became corrupted, leaving me in a state of anxiety and distress as valuable information seemed to evaporate into the digital abyss. And last but certainly not least, I reported eerie audio distortions with static feedback and ghostly echoes emerging from the system's speakers, lending an unsettling atmosphere into the user experience. While those glitches persisted in my disruptive commotion, a chilling incident transpired within my own walls. An unsuspecting tester, overwhelmed by the relentless cascade of medical issues, suddenly suffered a seizure, and panic and emergency filled the room as a rush to assist, calling for medical help. This alarming episode sent shockwaves through me, amplifying concerns about the software's stability and its potential impact on users like me. Back to the scene. As I delved deeper into the files, I soon realized that the strange whispers that emanated from the speakers came from, yet again, the poorly drawn anime girl with pink hair, pink eyes, pink shirt, gray pants, sitting on top of a pink cloud, the humanized football from the Disney OS commercial. She would often randomly appear and disappear at times. Curiosity led me to fire up Internet Explorer and explore the digital landscapes of the Windows Garfield OS, which is mistakenly shown in the text as Windows 3D, I don't know. Amid the browser's bookmarks, one link going to an unknown Garfield website was shown. Its name, a string of random characters. When I clicked on it, I was greeted with something horrifying. The entire background was like green and empty, and in the middle was a distorted figure of Garfield, with pitch black eyes, the figure looking directly into me. He told me,
"I know where you are. I can see you sitting in that chair over there now. I am coming for you along with my friends."
before the distorted Garfield figure could say anything else. The screen abruptly descended into a maelstrom of glitches and distortions. A disorienting swirl of chaos that seemed to spiral out of control. In a surreal twist, the mayhem reached its apex within the appearance of the dreaded blue screen of death. All too familiar to anyone who has encountered system errors before. But in a surreal twist, the screen was anything unconventional. Instead of the customary blue, it was ominous shade of crimson, its hue imbued with the unsettling significance. Suddenly, after about 10 seconds of a disconcerting black screen, the screen began to regain definition. What came into view was profoundly unsettling. A chair occupied by a teenage woman, rendered in a Gacha life or Gacha club style, with white cream hair, blue eyes, and black clothes. Well, mostly black clothes, but also wears a light blue jacket. The woman, her eyes wide with trepidation, stirred to consciousness. She surveyed her unfamiliar surroundings, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "Where am I?" she uttered. She had a strong Croatian accent, and her words were echoing with a blend of anxiety and perplexity. After glancing anxiously with her unfamiliar surroundings for a mere 5 seconds. The woman's attention was abruptly drawn to the distant sound of approaching footsteps. A sense of impending dread hung in the air. Suddenly, Garfield, the iconic orange tabby cat who had unexpectedly appeared in the animatic 2000 Windows 2001 and the Windows Disney OS, with its unknown Garfield website, materialized before her. However, this was no ordinary Garfield like you would normally see. His eyes were totally pitch black, rendering him far from ordinary. With palpable desperation, the woman finally shattered the silence, her voice trembling with anxiety. "Who are you?" she implored. But Garfield remained obstinately silent, his inscrutable countenance locked into an unsettling grin, as if to accentuate the unnerving silence. The camera abruptly zoomed in on Garfield's face. His grin widened, and then, without warning, he burst into a maniacal, chilling laughter. The sound echoed through the room, its resonance reminiscent of the stock evil laugh sound effects that could be heard in Sound Ideas. At the exact time, he began to speak to the woman in a menacing way. He said,
You see, I used to be a Microsoft worker. One day, I stumbled upon one of those glitches in the software, and it was the last thing I ever did. It seized me, and I met my end, but I didn't just die. Something far stranger happened. I found myself trapped within the computer, and I became this, Garfield. I've been here ever since, and I've got two more friends with me, Mickey and Bonzi.
Suddenly, the distorted Mickey Mouse figure from the Disney OS and the distorted Ponzi Buddy figure appeared. Mickey was all totally pitch black and had bright white eyes. Ponzi, too, had pitch black eyes. And then, as the footsteps continued, Audie and Nermal then came towards them, with both of their eyes being pitch black too. They were all looking directly towards the woman in a menacing way. Sorry, my microphone was glitching. But as the screen transitioned, there were the Sugar Rush Racers, and they had pitch black eyes, like in that Disney OS experience. Though they did not have the red glowing pupils and maroon irises I saw, like in that disturbing retro scene I saw. Their eyes were just pitch black. Behind were the four recolors: Citrusella, Nogetia, Torvald, and Sticky. In the middle row was Adorbizol, Candlehead, Crumbelina, Gloid, Jubilina, Minty, Rancis, Snowrana, and Swizzle. And in the front was Taffeta, their lead. Taffeta looked straight at the woman, and she said, "I know you are there." I don't know what to do with this microphone constantly glitching, but their actions took an ominous turn as Bonzi came close towards Kaya, which is the name of the captive woman, who said, "What are you doing?" Bonzi, though, in a distorted voice, said,
Who cares what I'm doing?
and then afterwards, Bonzi then retrieved a mysterious lever from the side of the grid room, and then he started to pull it down, saying,
Take this.
in the background, once he pulls that lever down, we can hear a door open. And then faint foreboding steps echoed. The captive woman's gaze darted around the room in fear, her anxiety palpable. As the suspense mounted, the screen transitioned to the enigmatic humanized BSBI Puffball girl. Yes, the same one I mentioned earlier. The same one that caused the strange whispers emanating from the speakers. She wore a gray band, adorned with the Windows 9X NT 2000 logo. In that harrowing moment, Human Puffball wasted no time in addressing the terrified woman. In a bone-chilling whisper, she uttered just 2 words.
You're next.
With shocking swiftness, the ominous humanized puffball girl lunged toward the captive woman, poised to knock her with horrifying intent. But as the tension reached its zenith, the computer abruptly shut down of its own volition, and then the screen then dissolved into darkness, leaving only a black screen. Moments later, the computer's screen flickered back to life. Its stark black background now bearing a cryptic message. Install the patches now! Together we can permanently end all of this. At that critical juncture, a conspicuous button materialized on the screen, bearing the enticing label, "Click me to install the patches now!" And at the bottom there was text that read, "Together we can permanently end all of this." A sense of urgency and responsibility washed over me as I guided the cursor towards the button and clicked on it. And then, you know what happened next. A sense of urgency and responsibility washed over me as I guided the cursor towards the button and clicked on it. And then instantly the screen plunged into a black screen, and all traces of the digital world vanished. In that eerie silence, the distorted figures' voices, laden with dismay and fear, reverberated from the abyss, as they exclaimed,
What have you done?
and at that critical moment, an installation prompt emerged on the screen, introducing the indispensable patch, effectively nicknamed Vigil, virus installation, virus isolation, and guard against intrusive lapses. The installation process unfolded over the next 5 minutes, a tense period during which Garfield and the other figures' glitch-ridden form convulsed from the screen. Their frantic warnings echoed, advising against the installation of the patches and urging their retention. And despite the unsettling cacophony of protests, I steadfastly continued, allowing the vigil patch to fulfill its purpose. As the installation continued, Garfield and the other figures' digital presence began to disintegrate, their glitching form melting away. In a final desperate proclamation, they uttered haunting, parting words.
You will regret this.
The computer gracefully initiated a restart, seamlessly transitioning to the familiar boot screen reminiscent of the software examined by the testers. The startup sound played in harmonious normalcy, and the desktop interface materialized without a trace. Not the prior enigmatic glitches. As I basked in the satisfaction of a seemingly restored digital realm, an unexpected visitor entered the scene, none other than Steve Ballmer himself. Well, looks like we've got a tech hero in the house. How's everything looking? Sir, everything appears to be back to normal. The visual patch seems to have done the trick. That's what we like to hear. Good job, we can't have our systems haunted by glitchy figures. Keep on the vigilance. And, by the way, if you ever encounter a talking lasagna, let me know. Will do, sir. With a friendly nod, Steve Ballmer left the room, leaving behind a sense of accomplishment and a reminder of the surreal challenges that lurked within the digital realm. Several months later, to my surprise, I found an email in my inbox from none other than Bill Gates. The unexpected nature of this communication struck me, given that he had previously unveiled Windows Garfield OS to the public and even before its official release. The content of the email read as follows. Dear Benjamin, I hope this message finds you well. It has come to my attention that you played a pivotal role in successfully implementing the visual patch and resolving the anomalies within the Windows Garfield OS. Your dedication to safeguarding our systems is truly commendable, and I wanted to personally extend my gratitude. The challenges you faced were indeed unforeseen, and your ability to navigate through them with professionalism and skill has not gone unnoticed. Your commitment reflects the spirit of innovation and resilience that we value at Microsoft. I would be delighted to hear more about your experience and insights. If you have any recommendations or observations, please don't hesitate to share them. Your perspective is invaluable as we continue to refine and improve our technologies. Once again, thank you for your efforts. You exemplify the excellence we strive for at Microsoft. Best regards, Bill Gates. While the email had left me in a state of shock, it also instilled a sense of pride. A few weeks later, newspapers around me featured ads for prominently showcasing Windows Garfield OS. Headlines like, "Worker Save Software" adorned the pages, signaling the recognition of the efforts that went into securing and enhancing the system. Surprisingly, interviews about my experience surfaced on the internet, shedding light on the journey with Windows Garfield OS. And then, to my amazement, fellow workers extended their congratulations, and some even presented thoughtful gifts as a token of appreciation for the role I played in safeguarding the software with the crucial patches. However, I continued to play on the Garfield OS with the patches fixed for several days. Until then, I decided to uninstall the operating system altogether. And thus, even still to this day, the legend persists that those venturing into Windows Garfield OS might occasionally catch a glimpse of Garfield on the desktop interface. Dismissing it as a mere glitch. Some may even notice my presence, later expressing gratitude for my role in preserving the software. To anyone daring to explore Windows Garfield OS, a friendly piece of advice: install the patches before delving into its depths. You may never know what awaits around the next digital corner if you chose not to install those crucial patches.